Hello and welcome back to my second episode of my Desert Only Iron Man on RS3. I want to firstly apologize for kind of how jumbled this episode might seem. I have a few different live commentary clips, and I'll be kind of doing a little bit more talking over other clips. A lot of the leveling that I was doing and just a large portion of the general recording that I was doing for this, I was just kind of chilling and not really talking a whole lot or really taking a whole lot of time to just kind of mute and record like a level up or something. And I feel like this works a little bit better, just kind of having short little cuts to every 5 levels or after every Tuska minigame completion. So hopefully this sits well, and we can move on with this format in the future. I will definitely try to improve my recording habits so that we don't really have this in the future. And yeah, so let's get right into it. First clip should be me getting some membership and then testing out my level 1 smithing method theory that I had. Alright, so we're just going to be getting the first month of membership here on the account from my main. Okay, so now that I've just gotten myself some membership, I'm going to be immediately testing this theory that I had. The first thing that I'm going to be doing is trying to start this quest with Irina for the tourist trap. And if I can't start this quest, then I'm not too sure I will be able to do my level 1 smithing method in the desert. So really? Okay. So that confirms that I actually can't. I need to have 10 fletching and 20 smithing to actually start this quest. So after that recent disappointment of not being able to start the tourist trap without 20 smithing and 10 fletching, I decided to do a little bit of Tuska for some other levels and a few skills. And the rates for each skill vary heavily, and some levels got a decent boost and some didn't. But after these few Tuska games that I did, we headed right back to Alcarid Mine for some common gem rocks, where I got these gems to sell for a little bit of starter cash before unlocking any decent thieving method. And then we're going to head right into a couple clips with a little bit of live commentary of me killing some men in Alcarid for my current best in slot mage and range weapons. Oh my god. Alright, nice. So we just got our best in slot mage weapon until tier 30. Oh, holy shit. First kill, by the way. I haven't even done the other inventory yet, and I already got the best in slot mage weapon. So I'm going to do this, and now we should be able to mage. Alright. Second kill, we got a charge bow. Holy! Alright, so it's time to go start ruining the account and start doing some quests. Now obviously This isn't the first time this account has been outside of the desert, and it already felt ruined when I spawned in Lumbridge, but there's nothing I could do about that. Alright, so after starting those quests, we finished the Stolen Hearts, Diamond in the Rough, and the Jack of Spades quest line to finally unlock Menaphos. So Menaphos will unlock a large variety of things for the account and will be super beneficial for a variety of reasons. And then I just decided to mine a little bit of clay and get a couple of starting mining and crafting levels, and we'll head right back into kind of how I had to deal with smithing. Okay, so I've only been doing this for a short little while, and then I realized that my workaround with the mining and smithing rework that I had in mind for smithing actually isn't gonna work. I was completely on like a little hype, and I was like, I figured out a way that I'm not gonna have to make an exception for this at all, and I'm gonna be able to figure out a way to do smithing within the desert and not have to make that restriction or that exception to go to the Lumbridge mine. But I forgot that with the mining and smithing rework that has happened at the beginning of January this year, they made all of the ore drops and all of the bar drops not exist. Like, they're now salvage that is only going to end up being an alch for this account, and stone spirits, which don't give me ore. I can't make bars with stone spirits. I have to use them to mine, and yeah, kind of sucks. But you know, that's kind of how it's going to work. I only did maybe like 5 minutes or less at the dung calphites, and I got some stuff that's fairly worth, like the herbs and stuff, so I might be going back there eventually for the herbs. But yeah, that's that just means that I have to make that exception that I talked about in the first episode, which kind of sucks. I wish I didn't have to, but I need 20 smithing to actually be able to start doing stuff for the account. So going past here, this is gonna suck, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to do this. I really wanted to figure out a way that I'd be able to work around it, and I really didn't want to have to do this for the account. But this is the only way. So yeah, I'm gonna mine. I think probably about, let's see, 14. So I think 5, maybe 6 inventories of this, and bank it at Al-Kharid, and then we'll move on into the smithing clips. So now what you're seeing here is just kind of, you know, me getting the ores, putting them in the bank, and then eventually smithing all of the products. And then after achieving 20 smithing, obviously I'm going to be dropping all of the things that I created, mainly because I didn't actually smith them within the desert. So that should be coming up in a couple seconds here. And then I don't know, right in between kind of this segment, I kind of realized I had a nice little kind of live reaction to getting the 15 woodcutting milestone right here, so I'll let you hear that. And obviously, I don't really know what that was. I just kind of realized that it was in my recording time. I have no idea what I was thinking when I did it. But obviously right now you're seeing that I'm getting quite a few thieving levels, and we're going to go right from 3 runecrafting into 50. And 50. Now, we finally got 50. And obviously this gives me some quest requirements. Like, that's cool. But here's the big thing. Menaphos Shifting Tombs. It's really nice. So we'll go into Shifting Tombs real quick. And I think I only need the 4 kind of things. So at least 50 agility, thieving, construction, and DG. So that leaves agility, construction, and dungeoneering. And agility won't be the worst thing once I start getting to 21, I believe. I can start doing the agility pyramid. Thieving was obviously going to be the easiest one, and I've already proven that by completing it. Construction and dungeoneering, however, early levels that I already have and everything are going to come from quests and Tuska, which really kind of sucks. And I think the only way for me to actually gain dungeoneering experience is through Tuska. Besides getting some lamps from Tuska and some other stuff like that. So what I'm just kind of including here is a couple clips of, again, me just leaving the desert really quick. I went to go get a house and change my appearance. I didn't really do anything else outside of the desert besides purchasing a house. I won't be doing anything with this house until 20 construction from Tuska, which hasn't happened yet. But the only thing that I will be doing is going in and moving my house from Taverley to Paul of Nivnich, which would be inside the desert. I didn't realize that there was a opportunity to do something so early on with the house inside the desert. I was so tunneled on putting it into Menaphos, which is 50. So yeah, I won't be touching the house until 20, but I did go and initially purchase it for Taverley. The other kind of stuff in the background is just a variety of different clips and level milestones, and so what we're going to go into next is a couple explanations about some other stuff on the account. So I noticed something while trying to put this video together, is that I did miss recording a bit of progress. So what did I miss exactly? It's not too large of a variety of content that I actually missed. The main things that are missing from what you would have seen at the end of episode 2 here and the beginning of episode 3 is I started I started the tourist trap and went and gained access to it and got the slave robes. I haven't actually completed the quest. All I did was gain access to it and get the robes from one of the people there. And I did a small bit of mining. I think I gained a couple levels, and I smithed the ore into arrowheads and got myself 25 fletching. So that's kind of a big change in terms of level, and I do feel really bad that I actually just completely missed recording a a lot of this progress, but those are really the only main things that I missed, so hopefully it'll be okay. Now that I've gotten that recording mishap out of the way, I'm going to go right into talking about kind of how the exceptions that I missed in the first episode. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is once I start doing combat, and once I start actually doing a little bit more of risky combat, once the account dies, obviously I can't respawn within the desert. So just one thing that I'm going to be giving myself is the Death's Office and the Reaper Gem. So that will give Reaper tasks. It'll give kind of another little daily goal to try and achieve later on, hopefully, of bosses to kill, and then it should also give better jewelry and stuff like that for the accounts without violating too much of the actual like account guidelines. It's not like, I don't think it really gives a whole lot of workaround methods or speed too much up, besides just giving me better jewelry to wear eventually, once I get enough desert boss tasks to complete and Reaper points and stuff like that. Because obviously I'm fully expecting to die multiple times on the accounts, so I don't see why I shouldn't just give myself Death's Office. I'll probably be visiting him quite a bit, so I just wanted to kind of throw that in and talk about that just a little bit. And the other thing that I want to talk about is just how the space that I'm restricting myself to is defined, and I'll be throwing up kind of my definition of the area that I've created and run by someone else already as well, and talk about what this means for the accounts and like kind of the content that it will be unlocking. So this definition includes the 3 areas that I talked about earlier. The Mauritania Dungeon for the Polypore monsters, the Mage Training Arena, and the Brilliant Wisps, because I don't think that those 3 things are technically classified as the desert, but they have, they have freely accessible areas, and I'm not technically crossing any borders into another open region. However, there is one other thing that could be a very large gray area, but I've made up my mind. I've decided I'm giving this to myself, and I'll talk about something that I did cover in the last episode that might change moving forward. So the big thing is Mazcab, the area of raids, and it's a fairly large region, and it is its own region, and the only thing is that the entrance is on the back of Tuska, which is in the desert. And what Mazcab unlocks for me, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, it'll give me Erits, which are a high level monster for me to kill. It will give me the Nemi Forest, which will give me experience in dungeoneering, farming, mining, and prayer each day, like a daily activity. And it will unlock raids for the account, which would give better armor, better gear, and everything. However, it's restricted to 10-man activity, so I'd have to do it with other Iron Men, and that would probably be just a whole bunch of carried stuff. And I'll talk more about kind of combat and how it'll play into the account at a later point when I'm more sure about how I want to define that for this account, because right now I'm completely uncertain as to how it will play into the account. So I just want to talk a little bit about my views on the Nemi Forest and how it will be affecting the account, because it most certainly will have a positive effect on progress. So what Nemi Forest does is it gives me experience in the 4 skills that I listed, and I'll try and throw them on the screen really quick as well. And those skills are Dungeoneering, again, farming, mining, and prayer. So I'll get experience in those 4 skills each day. And mining won't have too much of an impact because I can get plenty of experience outside of that. But the big things are really going to be Dungeoneering, farming, and prayer. So maybe I'll leave it up for a little bit of discussion, but these will really expedite these 3 skills training quite a bit, and is technically making an exception to be able to gain access to these methods. So it's a little on the fence, but I feel for myself that I'm definitely going to be choosing to do these, especially Dungeoneering and farming, and maybe I will make it so that I can't do the prayer aspects, but if I accidentally click on one, or I'm just kind of running through and I click on them, I'm just going to preface doing that right now. That is a definite possibility that I will do that. So I'm just going to throw that out there, because there are methods of training prayer for the account later on. There's definitely early level methods, so maybe I just restrict myself from being able to do the prayer stuff, because I can definitely get around that. And like I said, it's technically making an exception. But farming and Dungeoneering, yes, there are ways of gaining experience in those 2 skills from Tuska. However, doing or gaining experience in Dungeoneering and farming is beyond what I expected, and that's definitely not in a good way. I might figure out a way to kind of min-max Dungeoneering XP from Tuska, so getting to 50 probably won't be too bad, and farming eventually, it's not really necessary past level 25, but maybe I'll give myself the Nemi Forest like after I reach a couple certain goals for Phite Club, so that I just kind of get those increased experience per day towards kind of progressing the account without impacting too much on my actual personal goal of eventually reaching the Phite Club quest. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And now the final thing. I wanted to talk about how in the first episode I talked about maybe allowing myself the rune part of Rogue Trader, and I've received a little bit of feedback on how this most extremely expedites the process of obtaining runes, when obviously there are methods of killing monsters within the desert to obtain said runes. And my initial notion of this whole exception and everything was, I'm starting a mini quest within the deserts, going out of it to complete it just one time, and I have to complete an activity to be able to buy runes. And I'm not entirely sure, or maybe I wasn't entirely sure on like how many runes each activity allowed me to purchase. I'd be able to buy a lot of runes at some points, and there's a whole bunch of different factors that play into kind of each decision that comes up and each discussion. Every person has their own notion of, how they'd like something to be done, and it's definitely something to be respected. So for Rogue Trader, it may entirely expedite a whole large process of obtaining runes for the account. And I had this idea of wanting to go into Mage Training Arena and obtain the full set of Infinity Robes and the Master Wand and Mage's Book and that kind of stuff. But that's definitely not something that needs to be done on the account, and it definitely doesn't need to be something that's done right away. Right now I should throw up a quick little estimate of, I believe, how many rune of each nature, cosmic, and law rune that I'd need to be able to obtain the full set. And maybe Rogue Trader exception will play into the account much later on. When I was creating the first video and listing out the exceptions and things that I had in mind, I just kind of made it to give people an idea for what might happen to the account in the future, not necessarily an idea of what was going to happen on to the account right away. So like I've said, the Infinity Robes definitely aren't a vital part to the account, nor is Rogue Trader right now. If it does become an exception, it's probably not going to play any part into the account until much later on. I'd expect probably maybe even episode 50 or later on. I don't know how far or how much progress is going to be made with each episode or anything like that. This is just kind of a quick estimation. It's definitely not going to be anything immediate. It's definitely not going to be anything within the near future. There's still going to be plenty of problems and plenty of things that I have to figure out and work around. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I have right now for episode 2. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm definitely open to feedback, and I'm definitely open, even though I might not seem like it right away. I'm definitely going to go back, consider it, think about everything, and hopefully throw what I've kind of gathered and come up with in the next episode. So, again, I hope you all enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, whatever. Sell out stuff. Yeah.